Hi, I'm ilabasmati, and today the title is Hunters in the Snow, in 1565, Pieter Brueguel Elder. Well, it's the third time that I talk about this author, but the second time of the same picture because I love. Well, it's the first time in English. Well, he's an innovator of landscape painting. Although Jacques Patinier, 1524, is considered the first landscaper painter. It's a Bruegel work that nature comes to the fore. The topography dominates the composition. In the 14th and 15th century, the artists began to use the landscape in the painting as a background of other elements. In the Renaissance, painting represents religious and mythological scenes in Italian style pastoral setting, where the landscape was elegantly reproduced but still subordinate to the historical or religious message. But Bruegel puts the landscape at the top in the foreground and also represent human activity as an integral part of the landscape. Bruegel has a keen interest in the sight, sound, and every experience of life close to nature. His landscape configure the daily life of his inhabitant, while they shape while they shape the landscape. 16th century, there is a sharp drop in temperature that mark the beginning of a phase of climate change. Called like now, but called the Little Ice Age. It's true. It's true. One of the coldest winter is 1565, the year that Peter Bruegel the Elder painted hunters in the snow. The concern of the time for the changing climate and his impact of the community life inspired Bruegel to paint this picture, scenes set in the snowy field. This is how the captures on the canvas this period of extreme cold in which the earth is covered in a layer of brilliant white white rivers and lakes freeze, and all kind of creatures die due to the extraordinary weather condition, extremely cold. Hunters in the snow offer a landscape composition that is a window into the bliss and advertise of ecologically turbulent times in European history. 1552, Bruegel traveled through the Alps and through Italy. During the trip, he makes sketches, draw of landscapes that he sees, some of which are preserved, as well as details studies made with pencil and ink, as a typical of painter. The Alps influence Bruegel artistic style, as seems because it's from Holland. From Holland, it doesn't exist any mountain. a sense in Hunter in the Snow. Also, the landscape is realistically represented is a setting based in part of on the artist's alpine memories. This type of topography is not typical for the Netherlands. Netherlands has not any mountain. It's under the sea, under the level of the sea. It's a fantasy alpine landscape, but showing nature of the unpredictable mistress of human destiny. Brueguel proposed a spiritual reading of the painting. In the middle of the ice, and to compensate for the shadow cast by the mountain, the community that lived under his shadows thrives and bustle with activity despite the tremendous cold. Well, the children are running. They are happy in the middle. The painting suggests that man and nature linked in a more complex relationship than mere submission. Instead of being subjected to the being freeze, the characters skate of go sledding and practice winter sport over the frozen lakes. Hardworking and determined men accompanied by loyal dogs, yes, but they make their way through the snow wrapped in several layers of clothing. Unlike people of the valley, hunters who appear dejected return in one piece. Hunters in the snow is a genre painting depicting ordinary people doing their daily tasks. This style became popular in 16th and 17th centuries, especially in the Netherlands, where it is attracted the recently fortunate middle class. Yes, they have a good level of life. Brueguel, a pioneer of genre paintings, paints many lively scenes of rural life, from wedding and balls to festival and banquets. Hunter in the snow is part of the series of 6 or 12 paintings known as the most of which only 5 are preserved and correspond to the month of January. This series is commissioned by wealthy Bruegel patron Niklaas Johannelik for his Antwerp mansion, and each painting presents a month of the year, condensed into a pastoral scenes. Bruegel is inspired by the tradition of medieval books, very famous of ours, books for private prayer, that are illustrated with calendars of the season and their labors. Bruegel's legacy is evident in Jacob Riesdael in the 17th century, as well as Rubens too. The influence of Bruegel's work on the landscape tradition can be seen in the 19th century in the rural genre scenes of artists such as Gustave Courbet, Jean-François Miget, etc. Despite his great influence in the northern of European landscape and genre painting, Bruegel went out of fashion of several centuries. His popularity revived in the 20th century when he is appreciated for his innovative composition and deep human understanding. Well, that's all. Thanks so much for paying attention, and see you until tomorrow. That sure is an architect. Bye.